Leftovers is one of the worst items in draft format, and let me tell you why. As I'm sure you're aware, Leftovers is an item that restores 1/16 of a Pokemon's health every turn. In theory, this residual recovery sounds good, but there are far better defensive items out there. First, I'll discuss an item that typically provides more recovery in a game, in Citrus Berry. In order for Leftovers to provide as much recovery as Citrus Berry, the Pokemon needs to be both damaged and on the field for greater than 4 turns. In the current fast-paced draft format, there are very few Pokemon who will fall into the category of wanting to stay in damage while greater than 4 turns, which makes Citrus Berry a better recovery option for most Pokemon. Citrus additionally provides greater burst recovery, which makes it easier for a Pokemon to not be two-shotted. For example, say your Pokemon takes 60% damage from a move and it's holding Leftovers. That Pokemon will get two-shotted. If that same Pokemon is holding a Citrus Berry, it will escape getting two-shotted and can tank the hit. Now the next defensive item, which is better than Leftovers in most situations, is Heavy Duty Boots. In draft format, it can be very difficult to remove hazards, since it can sometimes cost 1 or 2 turns to remove them, and the opponent can do a lot with these free turns. So, if a Pokemon does not have Heavy Duty Boots, it will typically take between 6 to 50% damage every single time it switches in. So in order for Leftovers to recover more health than the Pokemon takes from hazards, it will need to typically stay in around 3 to 4 turns, which doesn't happen in most situations. So usually it's just better to run an item that makes you immune to hazards. Another defensive item which is superior to Leftovers are the Resist Berries. The Resist Berries can flip a matchup to turn a bad one into a good one, which is very valuable in draft format. For example, let's say you have a Slowbro against Gengar. In theory, the Slowbro team should be down on momentum and at a disadvantage, but if that Slowbro is holding a Castib Berry, it could potentially take the Shadow Ball and one-shot Gengar back with the Psyshock. So the flipping of good and bad matchups can be much more valuable than Leftovers' small residual recovery. The last defensive item that is superior to Leftovers, which we'll be discussing, is Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet deals 1/6 damage every time an opposing Pokemon uses a contact move. This is an excellent way to punish U-turn spammers, as they can be dealing a significant amount of damage to themselves every single time they click U-turn. Rocky Helmet's 1/6 damage dealt is also significantly higher than Leftovers' small 1/16 recovery, and in the current fast-paced draft format, the extra damage will usually be more valuable than the much slower recovery. Overall, Leftovers does have its uses. It can be valuable on Pokemon that use Substitute, and has a small niche on some Levitate Pokemon. But for the majority of Pokemon, Leftovers is a suboptimal defensive item and should not be used. If you can think of any other defensive items better than Leftovers, feel free to leave them in the comments.